It's all fun and games until they put $123.5 million of guaranteed money in front of you with an average of 40 a year. What trade request? That's all it took, I guess. That's all it took. Haslam's kind of had this problem where they just throw money at a problem. Sometimes it works out, but Myles Garrett signs his extension with the Cleveland Browns. Free agency well underway. Russ, is that what we're doing here? Russell Wilson, ton of Browns to get to here on the show. We got to give some love to the Cavs. Another win streak for the wine and gold. Just find ways to get wins. Or Jalen Tyson with the popcorn. We'll get to all that coming up. Plenty of wine and gold to get to as well. We got the grid. Plenty of football. Welcome on in to the Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. Hey is Ryan Tyler. So happy to have you alongside. And also now on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network, we are so happy for our debut show. You can catch us every Friday, 5 to 4. You ever miss the show, go check us out on YouTube, Big Play. You can also download the fabulous Big Play app for all of our shows, all of our content. We're up on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Ryan is at Ryan Tyler 33. Drop him a follow there. And I'm at Matt Fontana 83. Presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford. And we love you at Garage Beer. So happy to have you alongside. I can only imagine what that would feel like to be like, yeah, here's $123 million. Fully guaranteed, well, injury guaranteed for Myles Garrett. And listen, this week, and that's why I love doing this show a little bit later in the week, because it gives us time to reflect and kind of time to think about things. And Ryan, I was in the group of if Myles Garrett is truly out, then we need to trade him. It's probably why I'm not a good general manager, because they didn't break. The Browns sat there and said, we are not trading you. It's not going to happen, so you might as well work with us on this deal and become the richest non-quarterback in NFL history. They got it done. Myles going to go recruit free agents. What do you call Joe Troyan Shoyinka? Great.
Good pronunciation.
Thank you.
Cornelius?
That's a good signing. Can I get you your Cornelius Lucas little conspiracy theory here? Hit it. Yeah. Cornelius Lucas is offensive lineman they signed. Bro, he's 6'8", 330.
It's a big boy.
How about a little mentorship for DeJuan Jones as a 6'8" guy, 330? How you play, the weight, all that. So we'll get to Browns free agency coming up in a little bit. But how quickly the tides turned on, I don't want to be here. I go on this media tour. They give him the contract and he signed. And I did feel that was always going to happen. They were going to offer him this deal. On the trade thing, I understood where Myles was coming from. And I tried to put myself in Myles' very large shoes to say, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to play here anymore. But you talk about the money, and don't get this twisted either. There had to have been some sort of message from the Browns that resonated with Myles on the plan that they're going to take to try to fix this whole mess. Because if they hadn't done that, I still think we're in this kind of situation. It's funny to see that as the days have gone on now, there's still people, it's a small group, that don't like this. And we are a prideful bunch here in our town. And when people talk bad on Cleveland, we take that personally. And in a way, people took that as a shot from Myles Garrett at the organization, at this town. He doesn't want to be here. And people get so entrenched in well, then get out. Get out. You know, how many people are sending tweets? Get him out of here. He doesn't want to be here. The Mike Tomlin line. We want volunteers, not hostages. That same group are the people that are upset. How you feel about Myles Garrett is exactly how you felt before he signed that deal. If you were like me, where I understand where Myles is coming from, and I understand that this is a business, and I didn't take that personally. When he signed the deal, I go, great. This is awesome. This is such good news for the Cleveland Browns. He is a Hall of Fame player, a generational talent, and he is going to finish his career in Cleveland. This is good news. The other side still can't get off. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. That's where some people are at. And Is it as simple as I'm just going to sweep this under the rug and act like it didn't happen? Kinda. Like, I don't know, right? Do you need an apology from Myles Garrett? There are people saying he needs to come out with a video or he needs to come out with some sort of public statement to apologize. And I'm like, I don't need that. Do you?
Personally, I think he should walk into Lake Erie like Hugh Jackson did and cleanse himself of that. I think that if you want an apology, let's
you know
do
who's not going into that lake?
That'd be you.
Me.
Congrats.
I told you they weren't going to trade him before June 1st, and they did the exact complete opposite of that. They signed him to an extension. I ain't going in. So there you go.
No, I don't think I think it's ludicrous. It's business. I know it's a child's game, but he's getting paid millions of dollars, and he has generational wealth, but it's a business. The franchise does what's best for them. He needs to look out for himself. I'm not going to ask for an apology, but the one thing I'll kind of go back on to what you were saying, Matt, is I'm not sure that they said something or messaging or a type of plan to get him to sign. I just think he overplayed his hand and realized he was going to have to actually sit out games and didn't expect the Browns to dig their heels into the mud as hard as they did.
Well, the thing is, they were playing an NBA playbook, and it's clutch. It's kind of what they know. They took a page out of the NBA where NBA players have more power. They get to sometimes pick the teams that they go to. They tried that, and it didn't work. And they had to come back and understand, well, now they know, we can't really try this again. I looked up the list of clutch NFL athletes just because I was like, his name was Donovan Peoples-Jones. I don't know why it's the only. So, like, if Donovan Peoples-Jones really wants to try that thing, we tried that. It doesn't really work. They tried it, and at the end, is a great question. I don't know if we're going to get the answer to. Was this a ploy for the contract, or did he truly want to leave? Think about that. Like, this whole situation, it wasn't even that long. What, a month worth of kind of angst and uneasiness. Was that all truly just a play to get this contract? And you would say, Matt, that's stupid. He was always going to sign some rich deal. I'm sure it added a few bucks to that. I'm sure they maybe went a little more over the top than they expected because of the situation that happened. So if you sit there and you say, from one standpoint, it did work. Because if the angle was always trying to get the best contract, well, that's sometimes what trade requests are. I guess I maybe got duped by actually believing he didn't want to play here and actually believing that he didn't want to waste his career in Cleveland. I got had. Wouldn't be the first time nor the last that's going to happen. But I really thought he was going to dig in on that. You come back, you sign the deal. There's got it. To your point, Ryan, I'm not saying that they sat him down and they gave him this plan and he goes, oh my gosh, that's what I was looking for. But they had to give him a little semblance of like, okay, first off, the acknowledgement of the failures that have happened here. And that has happened with the Browns. The acknowledgement that Deshaun Watson is not the answer and the acknowledgement that we have got to change some of this. Let's start with that. I can't guarantee you what Andrew Berry is going to do to fix this, but at least start with, I know I got to fix this. You know, it's people in your life, right? You're sitting there and you're like, are you going to fix your car? Are you going to fix your car? Nah, acknowledge that there's a problem first, then you can start getting it fixed. What the answer to that problem is it really going to be Russ? And I sent a tweet that pissed some people off about, I don't know if I can just do Russell Wilson. And I want to explain that to everybody. When we return, we'll talk some Browns free agency and Nick Chubb. What's going on there? Cavs, we'll get to all that coming up right here on the Fontana Show, presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford. Do you need that new ride? Go check them out. Truck Month is on. The Super Duties, over 300 of them out there. It's going to be summertime before you know it. Do you haul a fifth wheel? You got a camper. You're looking to get into that type of thing. Well, you need a vehicle that's going to take care of you. Fairway Ford is the place to go. I stand by the Ford product. We had a little road trip for the Fontana Clan coming up. I got the Explorer. I got the third row seating. Bro, we are packed with stuff to go on our little road trip this weekend. I love my Ford. You're going to love it from Fairway Ford. Why? Over 20 years, family owned and operated. And sometimes they tell you about Canfield, right? It's a little short drive. And trust me, save up to $8,000 off a vehicle. I'll make that drive any day of the week. They will deliver for you. They'll deliver anywhere for your vehicle. And you can do a lot of this online. Go to fairwayfordohio.com. You can peruse all of their beautiful vehicles, not just the Super Duties and the F-150s and 250s and things like that. They got the Broncos, the Expeditions, the Explorers. I see so many of these sharp-looking Explorers. The Mavericks, the Rangers, they're all out there. Here's what I want to tell you about Fairway Ford. Everybody listening, ready for this? The best deals for our fans, for all the sports fans out there, they will not be beat on price, and they'll deliver anywhere. I'm going to say it again. The best deals, they will not be beat on price, and they'll deliver anywhere. That's what they got going for you at Fairway Ford. So as you search for that next vehicle, for that vehicle for 2025, add Fairway Ford to your list. The trucks, the SUVs, they got it. But right now, Truck Month, take advantage of that. Those beautiful F-150s out there, I sit there and I look at those things, man, there's a Velociraptor in my future, Ryan. There just is. There's an F-150 Raptor out there for me. And the great thing is, with their massive pre-owned lot, your dream vehicle might already be there with thousands already off. The APRs are down. They got you covered. Go see our friends at Fairway Ford online, fairwayfordohio.com. Is it really going to be Russell Wilson for the Browns? We'll discuss it next. Welcome back, Fontana Show, right here on The Rock, Big Play Sports Network. Follow us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. We're up on YouTube as well, and so happy to be a part of The Rock. So, Russell Wilson in on Thursday to visit with the Cleveland Browns, which is right because quarterback visits don't happen all that often anymore. But this is just such an interesting situation. To see how these dominoes have fallen, which I was going to ask you this, maybe we'll do this next. Of all the moves, Darnold to Seattle, the Geno Smith trade to the Raiders, Justin Fields going to the Jets. Which one shocked you the most? Chew on that. We'll get to it coming up here in a minute. But as all these dominoes have fallen, now you sit there and it's kind of like at the end of the night at prom and you got nobody to dance with, and there's Russell Wilson and here's the Cleveland Browns and there's nobody left.
Come on. Don't do
mean?
Russ like that.
What do you mean? He needs a job. We don't have a quarterback. Now, he's going to meet with the Giants as well, and that's been something while he's trying to put pressure on the Giants. And then Aaron Rodgers is just kind of hanging out there. Maybe he's going to Pittsburgh. I sent a tweet out, and I said, I don't know if I can handle Russell Wilson starting games for the Cleveland Browns. And I want to explain that, why I sent that. Because if I stripped away the name Russell Wilson, and I looked at a guy that has won a Super Bowl, like Kenny Pickett, a guy that won games last year for the Steelers, and the wheels fell off. TJ Watt was hurt. He lost his last 4 starts. I get that. He is actually a prime quarterback potential for the Cleveland Browns, and I will fully admit that. Is he better than Kirk Cousins? I think they're in the same mold. Is he better than Kenny Pickett? Yes. Is he better than Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Yes. I can't handle cringe Russell Wilson. I can't do it. The clip going back around. All right, everybody yell, run or pass. Hey, 9-4, run, yell. Like that is what's going to drive me insane. Beggars cannot be choosers. And I will fully, and this is the first time I've said, I need to take a step back. And if I got to deal with cringe Russell Wilson for a year, I guess I'm going to have to deal with it. As a quarterback, as a on the field, that's fine. I don't want to sit there and watch him put eye black and tape his shoes for a preseason game that he didn't even play in. I was hosting that night on ESPN Radio with Ian Fitzsimmons. He and I made fun of Russell for half of that show, because he was in full uniform with eye black, taped, and a wrist playbook for a game that he was not going to take a snap in. He's a lot to deal with. And here's the thing. I'm sure he's a nice guy. And it makes it come off that I'm saying that he's a jerk. He's not. It's just, Ryan, prepare ourselves for 8 months of let's ride Cleveland and him just doing the yucky kind of stuff that and I sit there and I go, Matt, you're going to have to deal with it, I guess. Now, do you really think Russell Wilson's going to sign with the Cleveland Browns? Do you really think he's going to be starting games for the Cleveland Browns in 2025? Ryan Tyler.
I think there's a good possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, it's either, I feel like it's between Pittsburgh, the Giants, and Cleveland Browns. And all the bull crap that we dealt with last year, I'll take a real football guy under center. I'll put eye black on watching games on the couch if that's what I have to do for the Cleveland Browns to be good. And I just don't understand all the kit and caboodle about how Kirk Cousins is such a better option than Russell Wilson.
I don't say he's a better option.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Didn't you get the sense this offseason that a lot more people were open to Kirk Cousins than they were to Russell Wilson?
Yeah, and I think it's in part because of how I feel. He's kind of exhausting, isn't he?
That's fine, but take that out of it because at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. That doesn't breed results.
You're right.
Very similar. You said they're the same bowl. Russell Wilson, 22nd QBR last year. Kirk Cousins, 23rd. That's about tells you exactly what they do. Kirk Cousins played a little bit more, had more interceptions.
He had the shoulder injury that he's hiding.
Stat-wise, Russell Wilson had a better season. They both finished the season pretty damn bad. I believe Russell lost, five straight?
Four straight.
Kirk Cousins lost 4 out of the last 5.
Yeah.
So you're not getting an instant winner, obviously.
Right.
The last part of the season, they were both pretty damn bad, in fact. But I don't understand why everybody's so infatuated with Kirk Cousins to turn around and say Russell Wilson is such a bad option.
I think the infatuation with Cousins, just talking about Cleveland, was such the primer. Everybody brought that up. And it's not just every national person at some point this offseason wrote about Kirk Cousins coming to Cleveland, the Stefanski connection to Minnesota, the cheap deal that you could get him on, the fact that Kirk wants to start. That's where you felt comfortable because that was just the plan. And now, what is throwing a wrench into all this? Ryan, let's cut this. Why is Russell Wilson meeting with the Browns? Because the Falcons came out and said, we're not getting rid of Kirk Cousins. Let's break the Cousins thing down for a second. I think most people understand this. Kirk Cousins has guaranteed money with the Atlanta Falcons. And it breaks down to this. Do they want to pay him $100 million over the next 2 seasons to be there, or pay $90 million for him to go away? What's the difference? What they want is somebody to trade for Kirk, because then they get off of that money, and they don't even care about the draft pick. You can give them a 6th round conditional pick. They just want to get off that money. Here's where the Falcons are thinking. Why don't we wait till the season starts? And some really good team, their quarterback goes down, and we can hold their feet to the fire on this and get what we really want out of this. There is in no world that the Browns could trade for Kirk Cousins. That money is not going to work. So they needed him released. Now you get this curveball. They don't, at least at this point, take a note from the Myles Garrett situation. Anything can change. They're dug in. We're not going to get rid of him. And I kind of believe him. Kirk Cousins is owed $10 million on a roster bonus next week. That's that $10 million. When I talked about 90 to go away or 100 to stay, come Monday, Ryan, they're going to pay him that money. It's all the same. He's going to stay in Atlanta. The only thing is, if he becomes that malcontent, because he's made it known he wants to start. He wants to go to another team and start. So if the Falcons can be like, well, we'll just deal with him being upset and being pissed off and all that kind of stuff, then that is why Russell Wilson is meeting with the Browns. That's the other thing, not to continue to knock Russell Wilson. It's a convenience thing. It's literally, there's nobody left. You're not bringing Aaron Rodgers here. Okay, you traded for Kenny Pickett. Can I just please can I seal this coffin on this Joe Flacco thing? He's not coming back. And I don't even know if I want Flacco back. You are not going to recreate that. I appreciate Flacco for what he did here. We're moving that on. We're done with that. I'd like something else different. And it all circles behind one thing. Are you drafting a quarterback to help pull us out of this? Nothing will ever be fixed until the Cleveland Browns draft their franchise quarterback. All this other stuff is window dressing or a bridge to get you to that point. And that's why I want the Browns to draft a quarterback. I want Cam Ward so bad. Ryan wants Shedeur Sanders. And I've opened up and I said, I just need a quarterback. Nothing. This is all just to get you to that point. And I also got to understand, go back on the wrestling quick. Daryl, shout out to Daryl Ryder. I love Daryl. And he and I were on Twitter about this. He goes, that's what happens when you go dumpster diving. You ever go dumpster diving before?
No, I have not. Hopefully I'd never have to.
My dad pulled out a fish one time, a marlin that was in our garage growing up. He goes, it was in the trash. I grabbed it. I thought it looked cool. So you are dumpster diving. There are no good options. There's just some that you think maybe are better than less. And the money's got to be a factor in this whole thing too. Again, if Kirk was Russ, he'd be signed, he'd be here, no question. If Kirk was owed $15 million, they'd trade for him. He'd be here. It's, again, another unfortunate situation. You got other teams dictating what the Browns are going to do. I think deep down they'd like Kirk Cousins to be here. I really do. But you got to wait for them to release him. You can't trade for him. All right, you said yes for Russ.
Yeah. Out of the limited options right now, the main two people are talking about Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Drew Lock, Jameis Winston, blah, blah, blah.
Mac Jones off the list. That was a name I was interested in. He's off the list. Finally made his way to San Fran.
And it's interesting for a lot of people that love talking about Kevin Stefanski having a connection with Kirk Cousins. One, that was half a decade ago.
I
so
agree.
let's pump the brakes.
I agree.
I was doing some crazy stuff half a decade ago that I don't want to talk about. So let's not talk about half a decade ago. Okay? Yes, that's next week's show. And for we like to stay here. What does Kevin Stefanski hate the most, Matt?
Interceptions and turnovers.
Let me check my notes. Kirk Cousins last 5 weeks of the season, 9 interceptions to 1 touchdown. You know, for all the trash we talked about Jameis Winston throwing picks, Kirk Cousins seems to not be able to identify his own teammates.
Nah, he got a shoulder injury. That's what he's telling everybody. He had the shoulder injury. Yeah. I agree. I think that's overblown. Ryan thinks Russ Wilson will be here. I'm going to say no, which tells you he probably will be here. All right, we got to talk free agency, a couple of moves for the Browns, and we'll bring back Nick Chubb up. We got the deals done for some other running backs. What are the Browns going to do? We'll talk about it next. Fontana Show, presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford and Garage Beer. Back right after this. Do you like NFL free agency? I love it. I love it. I think it is so much fun. Now, this class overall in the NFL, not premier. There weren't some big names, but we still got some moves, and we'll talk about the one that shocked us the most. Welcome back, Fontana Show, Big Play Sports Network, The Rock, presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford and Garage Beer. Follow us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. So let's start with the Browns here. Didn't have a lot of money, and they made some bargain basement type of deals. Makes me think of Ollie's Bar. Have you ever been to Ollie's Bargain Mart?
No, I just found out about Crazy Eddie's.
I've never heard of Crazy Eddie's.
Yeah, Rafa told me that one.
Oh, okay, that's it. Well, Ollie's
got deals.
They got deals. Well, the Browns had to cut some deals here. So Malik Collins, nice on the D line. You mentioned Cornelius Lucas on the offensive line. It's funny, and I don't mean to make fun of him, but the big sign is going to be who? Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Yeah. You know, first round pick out of Washington. I watched him in Tampa, started losing his spot. He is Obo Okoronkwo. And I know I connected this dot. A lot of people did right away. I think that looks like as a post-June 1 cut for Obo. Now, the thing is they already used those 2 designations. They legitimately now need to wait until June 2nd if they want to move off Okoronkwo. They will save money. They're the same. They're like 6'4", 6'5", 250. Cannot set the edge to save their lives, okay? And Shoyinka is coming in from a 3-4 defense. Now he's going to play D-end in a 4-3. Ryan, I know you're a younger kid. They've tried that with so many guys, and it never... Do you know who Jabal Sheard is?
Yes.
Yeah. Pitt, I loved Jabal Sheard. Started him as a 4-3 D-end, then he moved to a 3-4 outside linebacker, then he's back. That kind of stuff never works. I'm not knocking it. Okay, fine. You didn't have a lot of money. Call me tempered on my expectations of Joe Tryon-Shoyinka here. But they made moves that you thought, okay, they got a lineman, they got a D lineman. That's pretty much it. And I don't expect them to do much else. They don't have the money. The team that you got, the draft is going to be most important. But it all circles back to Nick Chubb. And you know what? If there's one thing I've been steadfast on this show for the last couple of months here in the new year, they'd better do right by Nick Chubb. They better do right by us. For the first time in quite a little while, I think Nick Chubb's coming back. And maybe that's me wishing and hoping.
Oh, no. Didn't you just say we're going to get Russ because you said we're not?
I didn't think, yes. So you know me, the opposites here. You know, one of those two things is going to be wrong. I'll tell you this. You ready for this? I'll take Russ Wilson and be wrong about that if that means I'm right about Nick Chubb. I want Nick Chubb back. I do. And you saw the deals and the other guys that got signed up and moved around, and Rico Dowdell and what JK got and all that. Give Nick Chubb another incentive-laden contract and just bring him back so I can have a little happiness. Like, that's what I want. And what can he provide? I think it was a slow go with him last year coming off the knee. The foot is different. It's a broken bone. I'm sure he's already working out, and I hope for a little comeback. They're still going to draft a running back. There are too many good ones in this draft for you not to take one or two. And you can remake that room with 2 rookies and Nick Chubb. Just let Nick Chubb be here, please. I just think that goes so long for the fans, for that locker room. Think about the twist that the Browns have had over the last couple of weeks. You got Bitonio to come back. You got Myles to sign this deal. What if they came out and they said, we re-signed Nick Chubb? And people tell me, Matt, take the emotion out of it. This is not a family. This is a business. Insert your Godfather line. Like, just give me that. On a 2-year, $8 million deal with incentives up to 11 or something, just do that. And if Nick says no, then I accept that. But give him that, please. And I still think there's a little juice left in that tank. Squeeze tank, gas, whatever. Like, there's still something left with Nick Chubb, in my opinion. I just want to see that happen. And Ryan, I'm starting to, I really think that, man. I do. And the post-June 1 cuts of just Tomlinson and Juan Thornhill, congrats, Ryan, that's $6 million. That's going to go to the quarterback, I think. With whatever they sign, you can find some pennies to throw at Nick Chubb. And I really hope the Browns do. For the first time in a little while, Ryan, I'm feeling better about Nick Chubb coming back to the Browns.
I took a couple ganders at the NFL Insider's big board of the free agents and of this offseason, and, they rank them. Mm-hmm. And pretty sad. Nick Chubb was the 101st ranked available free agent this season.
Yeah.
Can I interest you? You draft a rookie.
Yep.
You bring back Nick Chubb, and I don't know if we can make the dollars and cents work. I would absolutely love if we could find a way to get J.K. Dobbins here.
That would be nice. We started the offseason talking about J.K. Dobbins. Can I give you a scenario, though? You don't want to be the Panthers because they paid Miles Sanders. Here comes Chuba Hubbard, right? Like, I think you are going to draft a running back, and you never know, right? I think your best bet is to hope that the running back that you draft becomes your future guy. So I don't know if I necessarily want to muddy those waters. Now, that's a leap. That's a leap of faith on a rookie, and in this situation with the Browns offense and all that, to just take a leap and say, Amari Hampton's going to be my future guy. Nick Singleton's going to be my guy. I'd love Judkins. I'd love Travion Henderson. That's a big one, but that's like kind of where Nick Chubb is like my little buffer in that whole thing. Again, if the dollars work, and as it goes on, there's just money being lost. There were some, it happens every year. There were just some horrendous contracts handed out. And it's a good reminder for all of us, and I guess maybe it's good because the Browns don't have a lot of money to throw around. If you try to build your team through free agency, it's not going to work. Javon Hargrave was the cat's rear end for when the 49ers signed him 2 years ago. Cut. I know he got another deal, and he's up in Minnesota, and they got a bunch of D-line guys up there in free agency. When you start handing out those big contracts, Ryan, I would say rarely, I think you are on a 40-60 split of that happening, or hitting, excuse me. I think about 40% of the NFL free agents that sign big deals actually produce and live up to those contracts. So as the days go on, as we're well into it, the new league year and all that, the money's only going to go down. The money, a lot of the big money has already been spent. And this free agency class wasn't all that good to begin with anyway. That's where I think just let this slip through the cracks, man. Let this Nick Chubb deal kind of slip through the cracks. I hope it happens. We'll see how it goes. Got to talk about the wine and gold Cavs continuing finding ways to get it done. We are creeping on, Ryan. I was going to ask you. What shocked you the most? Fields to the Jets, Darnold to Seattle, Geno going to the Raiders. Any other ones? Quarterbacks I missed?
None of them necessarily shocked me.
Okay.
I mean, Darnold got paid a bag. I thought it was interesting. It seems like a lateral move. You get a little bit younger. You may be a little bit cheaper than Geno Smith is looking for. So you save some sense on that.
Man, I was not.
But it's like a reset with Mike McDonald going to his second year. But it's interesting. You get rid of DK. Nothing shocked me though.
That is the shocking of all of them. That's the shocking one there. And of course, where's he got to go to Pittsburgh? All right, turn things over to basketball. We'll talk about it next. Stay with us right here on the Fontana Show. Cavs don't lose, man. They find ways, keep chugging along. Welcome back, Fontana Show, right here. Big Play Sports Network, The Rock. Follow us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Download that Big Play app presented by Fairway Ford and our friends at Garage Beer. Cavs find ways, even in games without Donovan. Dude, what a troll job. He's sitting there eating the popcorn. I think everybody saw it. Foreshadowing. They loaded Jalen Tyson's car with popcorn. because I guess he didn't bring donuts or whatever. You know what I thought about on that? You know how hard that's got to be to clean that car with all that butter?
Oh, yeah. You're paying someone.
You're paying somebody to detail that car. But Cavs continue to find ways, even against lesser teams, to get the win. Ryan, one of the things that's starting to circle with the Cavs here is we are coming down to it. 65 games into the season. Are you pushing for 70 wins? Are you pushing for the number 1 overall seed?
I mean, the number 1 overall seed at this point, I don't want to knock on wood. Oh,
I'm talking about the Thunder. Like, that's who you're competing against for the number 1 seed for home court in the finals.
Through the finals. I mean, yeah. I think at this point, yeah, you want to push for it, but at the same time, I mean, I don't think it's that necessary to the point where you need to strain a guy like Donovan Mitchell.
Right, that's what I'm asking. Like, are you ready to throw these guys out there? And trust me, I want all these guys to keep playing, to keep sharp, keep the rotation going. I think Kenny Atkinson's starting to show his hand a little bit. You know, where they got that win the other night against the Nets. And Mitchell obviously sat, but DeAndre Hunter sat, and Ty Jerome sat. I think we're going to start seeing that as we go. Now, at this point, we've already locked a top 3 seed with 20 odds, almost 20 games to go, which is just incredible. At this point, I don't care about the number 1 seed. I don't care about 70 games. That does nothing for me. It really doesn't. And it's a great accolade, and I'm more worried about what we're going to do in the playoffs. The number 1 seed on the Thunder, here's my take on that. You ready? If it was the Lakers, I'd be worried. I want the number 1 seed. If it was the Nuggets, I'd be worried. I want the number 1 seed. The Thunder are a lot like us. They're young. They don't have a ton of playoff. I know they did last year, but I'd be more worried if you were competing against a more veteran-laden team to get home court advantage. That's the one that I'm just like, don't really care about. So therefore, if I don't care about that one, I'm not going to care about 70 wins. Start sitting some of these guys, getting the rest, but you also don't want to do what? Fall into bad habits, get out of your rotation, keep it semi-stable, and you got a couple of big games still coming up to go. I'm on cruise control for the Cavs until the playoffs start. Keep these guys healthy, try some new things, but the biggest thing is we've talked about with this team over and over, Ryan, they find ways to win. In games where we sit there and we go, I'll give them a pass for tonight, or they just don't really have it. Bro, they have a grit and a fight to go out there and win every single game. And it's not the highest of class of opponents. I'm not saying that, but they just find ways to get wins. I think that helps them come playoffs. They have a confidence late in games on what they're going to do and how they're going to operate and who the ball's going to go to. Now, the concern is what? Darius Garland is in a bit of a regression right now. And whether it was injuries again, the floater that shot it is just kind of gone right now. And you're still finding ways to win games. But that's something where I need to get, maybe he needs to sit back down for a little bit. Like, something's got to get right with Darius Garland come playoffs. Because, listen, you're not going to win without Donovan Mitchell. You're not going to win without Evan Mobley. You're not going to win without Darius Garland or Jared Allen either. You got to have these guys clicking. You mix in Strus, you mix in some of these other guys, absolutely, DeAndre Hunter, but you have to have Darius Garland. They got to get him out of this funk. And maybe if it's not him, keep shooting, because now you've done what? You've given him a game without Don. And granted, he went off in that fourth quarter to be able to get that win over the Nets. I need to get him right. And maybe that's where my mindset's starting to shift with the Cavs a little bit. I'm all right with them sitting some guys down and even losing some games. Because we talked about this on last week's show. There really isn't a loss out there that's going to bother me with the Cavs anymore. I am so confident and I feel so good about this team. Outside of the playoffs, there's not going to be a loss that bothers me for the rest of the regular season. So we're on cruise control. We'll get to the playoffs. Get there before you know it. All right, can we get a little cruise control for the grid coming up? This is new for the people on Rock.
It's true.
We will explain when I say the grid, we do it every week here on the show. We'll fully explain what it is. It brings us a lot of torment, but when we get it, it's a lot of excitement. We're going to go for 2 in a row here, right? 2 in a row. We'll explain the grid. We'll do it next. Stay with us. All right, this is exciting, Ryan, because it's the first time on the Rock we get to the Immaculate Grid. Let's roll, Fontana Show. Welcome back. So let's do this.
No commanders. That's a good sign.
That's good. So here's the Immaculate Grid. You can see here on your screen. You see teams down to the side. You see teams up to the top. Our job, and we've done this since day one of our show, You have to fit a player in the grid that has played a regular season game for each of those teams, and then only one team down the side. We got to get all 9. We're usually on a time crunch. Let's get after it. Go.
All right, only one team Cowboys.
Micah Parsons.
Dakota.
That's fine. Dak Prescott.
Patty.
That works. DK.
I mean, technically, I think that would still work because he didn't play a game for the Steelers.
That's right. He's not played a game yet, but Jackson Smith and Jigba works as well.
Oh, God.
Get him the hell out of there, by the way.
In NJ,
just go Jackson. Jaxon. I don't think there's too many Jackson.
There will be Jackson Dart next year.
Not for the Browns. All right. Packers.
All right. Anything immediately jump out? Packers, Seahawks, Jimmy Graham.
Yes.
I don't think he works anywhere else.
No. He didn't play for the Jets, I don't think.
No.
Jimmy Graham works. Okay. What is screaming there?
Is that MVS?
Yes, it is. Now, wait a minute. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do that.
That definitely works, right?
Yes. But I thought about him somewhere else, but let's just go. Yeah, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Packers, Cowboys.
Oh.
Stephon Gilmore didn't play in Green Bay, did he?
No. I keep wanting to think of It's not Reggie White.
Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right.
Jets,
the boys.
Let's just think Jets quarterbacks because there's so many. It's not McCown.
Mark Sanchez.
It's not Mark Sanchez.
Did Tyrod play for the Jets?
Yes.
But I'm not sure.
But I don't know if he ever played for any of those 3 teams down the side. McCown. I want to say Seattle, but I don't feel good enough to rip that.
Mike White.
That's
Joe
good.
Flacco.
Flacco, no. Does Geno Smith? All the way to, yeah. Right, you got drafted by the Jets. Yeah, Geno Smith.
And then I got one for Mecole Hardman.
Good pull. Okay. All right. Again, 2 such historic programs. There's got to be something screaming here. Got to be something.
Marco Murray, no.
No. Michael Irvin, obviously not. Jason Witten, no. Romo, no.
Andy Dalton.
Oh, God,
no.
no. Oh, my gosh.
What position?
Quarterback.
For Cowboys, what?
Backup.
Oh.
I want to force Cooper Rush, but that's not right.
What I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't think that's it.
Cowboys.
Oh, my gosh. Does Miles Austin work there?
Oh, I have no idea. Brandon Cooks doesn't work anywhere.
Brandon Marshall doesn't. Is that what you said? Or do you say Brandon Cooks?
But
try Miles Austin.
For
that one, the one you're
Cowboys,
on. Cowboys, Jets.
Is it Miles with an I or Y? Miles Austin?
Yeah.
Are you confident?
No.
But you want me to rip it?
Yeah.
Wait. Cowboys, Jets. Is that not Greg Zerloin?
Greg the Leg.
That one's for sure.
That's for sure.
All right.
We'll take it. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here because we do that all the time.
Okay. I'm just going to say it. Greg Jennings, Clay Matthews,
Demarius Randall,
Richard Rodgers, Randall Cobb.
Randall freaking
Let's
Cobb.
go.
Let's go. Yes. Nice. That's 2 in a row for us. Let's go. And that is the grid.
Wow.
Now we have spoiled everybody on the Fantastic Rock about, that's easy for them, dude. Trust me.
Everybody's going to think
not.
after that one, the first premiere on the Rock, that we're so good at that.
We're so good at it. Not really. We struggle with it. Nice.
I'm proud of us.
In break, I'm going to Google if Miles Austin worked, too, because I'd just be interested on that. All right, wrap things up. Stay with us. Fontana Show. All right, Ryan, I think it's a good thing that you jumped in. Miles Austin would not have worked.
I was literally this
Eagles.
close to hitting submit, and then Greg the Leg just popped in my mind.
Greg the Leg saved us. Kickers save us in that. Miles Austin only went Dallas Browns. He went to Philly. Different green that I was thinking of there, but we get it done with the Immaculate Grid. All right, Browns moving off. So free agency, we're going to get back into the draft. Ryan, has anything changed through free agency, because I wanted, as all these other moves kind of happen, and we know the situation the Browns are in, you're sitting at 2. I'm get this growing concern. The Giants are coming up to go get a quarterback. But I think as all the dominoes kind of fell, the first one of Geno getting traded, then Darnold goes to Seattle. I think Justin Fields going to the Jets is a very impactful one. Because I could have believed the Jets would have moved up and got somebody. They're going to stick with Fields. Now it's hilarious to see Pittsburgh sitting there going, what are we going to do now? And I really think Aaron Rodgers is going to go there. As this has all gone on, I think the Browns are in a better spot for potentially making that move to go get Cam Ward. Now, the thing is, all the silly season stuff is going to happen about Tennessee's in on him or he's not in on him, and we'll see. I want Cam Ward. He's my pick. I think you're going to have to go to 1 to go get him. But as free agency is going on, I think as other teams have kind of cinched up some for now, and maybe it is a primer and a teller that other teams are really thinking about the 2026 draft for quarterbacks. Like, listen, I like Justin Fields. Jets will probably be taking a quarterback, right? Like, whatever happens with the Raiders, and I only want to get a deal for, new deal for Geno Smith and all that. We'll see. We'll see how all that plays out. But I think as it's gone on, nothing has really changed. Outside of the Giants, if they had assigned Sam Darnold, I think that would have changed some big things. They didn't. You still know it's going to be 3 teams for 2 quarterbacks. I think it's the Giants, no matter what they do, us, and I still think the Titans got to be in on this as far as Shador and Cam goes. You're a Shador guy. I'm a Cam guy. At this point, I'll open up and I'll say I'll take either one.
I think it's ludicrous, and I saw Dan Orlovsky talking about how if the acquisition of Russell Wilson happens to Cleveland, well, maybe Cleveland shifts gears and does take the best player available, a la Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. I think it doesn't make any sense. I think you're not getting some guy that's going to come in here and truly lift the ceiling of the Browns to the point where you're looking at a playoff contender, you're looking at a chance at the AFC Championship, Super Bowl. No, you still draft a guy, you still draft your future at the most important position and let him develop behind a guy like Russell Wilson.
Absolutely. 100%. You do what Atlanta did. They had Kirk Cousins. They still drafted Penix. How many examples? Kansas City had Alex Smith. They still drafted Patrick Mahomes. That's the dream. Now, I don't have a Kirk Cousins or an Alex Smith in place right now. Nothing will stop me over and over. And, dude, how many quarterbacks did the Patriots draft? Well, they still had Tom Brady, Brissett, Hoyer, Jimmy Garoppolo. You keep plugging along because that's how important that position is. You're right. We got to recalibrate from times to understand this is just a Band-Aid for right now. Still try to go get that quarterback, and we all geared up for the draft. I'm really excited. Appreciate everybody joining us right here on The Rock, our first show on The Rock. So exciting every Friday from 4 to 5. But if you ever miss our show, go to YouTube, subscribe to the Big Play channel. We're on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show, at Matt Fontana 83. Ryan is at Ryan Tyler 33. We appreciate you joining us. We'll talk to you next week. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.